The following program is a production of HEW Entertainment and contains views, opinions, commentaries, and content that may offend some subscribers of this show. Listener discretion is advised.
It's that time once again for HEW Entertainment Radio.
And that's all I got to say about that.
Hosted by Jonathan Clarke.
The beat! The man! You gotta beat the man! Whoa!
Be sure to join us in the live chat room during the show.
Hulkamania is running wild like it's never ran before.
Call us on one of our request lines. If you live in the United States, call us at 1-641-985-7800, box number 3729288. If you're from Canada and would like to call us from 1-647-724-4194, box number 3729288. Long distance charges may apply in some areas.
I've been the world heavyweight champion 10 times.
Or you can always drop us a line at MySpace, myspace.com/HEW Entertainment.
And you will rest in peace.
Emailing us works for you too. Email us hewwrestling@hotmail.com.
I am a wrestling god. JBL.
And now, without any further ado, here is your host of HEW Entertainment Radio on the official website of HEW Entertainment, Jonathan Clarke.
The champ is here!
Streaming live on YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. HEW Entertainment Radio is inviting you to comment on our video blogs, join the conversation, and like us. So what are you waiting for? Log on and listen now. Don't miss out on any of the action. Download our app on the App Store, Google Play, and the official website of HEW Entertainment. Once you download and install it, you'll get caught up on news, YouTube videos, and more. Download it now.
Barbed wire fence carving on a hillside, cutting holes in the midday sun, like a postcard framed in a windshield covered in dust. I love the rhythm of an old gray black top, 33's just whistling by. Steer the wheel one-handed on a two-lane, hugging that line. I got the windows down, no one else around, singing. Freedom is the miles I'm rolling on. Out here cruising to a back road song. I feel the wheels like a melody, like a radio dialing in strong. Come on, sing along to my back road song. I hit the brakes for an old New Holland, hammer down and pass them on up. The breeze smells like a summertime hayfield's just been cut. I got the windows down, way out of town, singing. Freedom is the miles I'm rolling on. Out here cruising to a back road song. I feel the wheels like a melody, like a radio dialing in strong. Come on, sing along to my back road song. slide in this truck, I can hear you singing. Ooh, let me hear you singing. Ooh, freedom is the miles we're rolling on. Out here cruising to a back road song. I feel the wheels like a melody, like a radio dialing in strong. Come on, sing along to my back road song. Come on, sing along to my back road song. This is my back road song. This is my back road song. Come on, sing along to my back road song.
He may not have as many fans as John Cena. Obviously, the number of John Cena fans significantly outnumber those of Randy Orton, but the Randy Orton fans want to know what Randy Orton's situation is, what his status is with WWE, and apparently this is revolving around a collarbone injury Randy Orton sustained when he was at home after being given some time off by the company. He was taking out garbage, his collarbone broke, he required surgery, and this is why his return has been prolonged for as long as what it has. Now, usually a story like this is bogus. It's usually determined to be bogus, and it's immediately removed off the headlines board of any wrestling news website or entertainment news website on the internet. But apparently this is one that actually has been confirmed. We have some confirmation on Randy Orton's status, and apparently his return's been put off for a little while longer. Hopefully he'll be returning and making a full-time return at that by SummerSlam, because his return is really needed. Randy Orton is a guy who's kind of become consistent with this kind of thing, being here one minute and gone the next. It's usually because of some personal issue Randy Orton is dealing with, battling demons. We've known Randy Orton for having to do that for a number of years. His family have been no strangers to battling and conquering demons. They've overcome demons. They were sometimes unable to do so. So that not allowed them to perform at their fullest potential. So Randy Orton kind of has become consistent with this sort of thing, so it should be no strange thing to read about on a professional wrestling news website as it relates to Randy Orton. And I thought years ago they would have gotten rid of Randy Orton by now, because in 2005, when Randy Orton's popularity started to excel, it was obviously really apparent that Randy Orton couldn't handle the pressure, and he was really under a significant amount of stress because of just how popular he was and of how high demand his character actually was. And then he, of course, had a couple of mishaps in his lifetime, and then they had to unfortunately suspend him, or because of some injury he was sidelined. And this is just one of the latest mishaps in Randy Orton's life, that he has to overcome a collarbone injury, apparently prolonging his return to WWE. Nobody knows what his role is going to be when he returns. The last time we saw him was in the lateral part of 2015. I think it was in October, when himself and Dean Ambrose worked against the Wyatt family. I know Braun Strowman was actually in the match. They worked with Dean Ambrose. I don't know if they won or lost that match. I can't actually remember back that far, because the storyline wasn't that interesting. It was just a way of introducing us to Braun Strowman's character. I would assume, because it was a way of introducing Braun Strowman's character, they would have lost and dropped the match to the Wyatt family. That made more sense, because that was around the time Braun Strowman had debuted, about 3 months off of Braun Strowman's debut, removed from his debut. And of course, they were trying to hype him up as much as they could, so any win they could get for him, obviously, was given to Braun Strowman. So obviously, I would assume they lost, and ever since then, Randy Orton has not been seen by WWE fans. The only exposure we've seen from him is on the network, and that's probably for some special during, probably showing one of his DVD and Blu-ray releases over the years, a compilation of Randy Orton highlights, something like that, probably a minimal interview where we hear only about 5 minutes worth of comments from Randy Orton. If not that, something from years ago Randy Orton had earlier happen in his career. It seems like more exposure is being given to John Cena, which you would expect
because he's the name and the face of WWE. So even with him out of action, he's still getting exposure on the network for some flashback show or some interview where he's commenting on some up-and-coming superstar from NXT. I wish that was the same thing for Randy Orton, and we were seeing more exposure for Orton so we weren't so uncertain about his future. But I mean, that's what we're faced with, the uncertainty of Randy Orton's future and what his role with WWE would be. A cool way of bringing Randy Orton into the storylines, if he was going to be injured for this long and it was determined by doctors that he had a collarbone injury, would have had him have the role, assume the role of the Raw general manager when they had the fall of WrestleMania 32 happen the way it did. You could have still reintroduced us to all this new talent from NXT because of all the injuries of people like Seth Rollins and Sting. You were waiting for people like Seth Rollins to return. Obviously, Seth Rollins' return happened sooner than was expected, and it couldn't have happened at a better time because we're getting ready for SummerSlam now. But with all these returns happening and all these injuries, Randy Orton coming in as Raw general manager would at least keep fans compelled to watch the show, and that would have been something different for Randy Orton rather than seeing him wrestle all the time or just showing up with ridiculous promos while he was injured. Remember when he had his arm hurt a couple of years ago and they were doing the whole Randy Orton news segment and they were parroting CNN? That was ridiculous. I mean, you could add something far more creative for Randy Orton to do as an upstart talent than just coming out and just, updating us on a shoulder injury, which was 75% healed, from there 85 to eventually 100% healed. And then he just kind of showed up in a feud that really meant nothing to his career. You could have had Randy Orton come out and do interviews. You could have Randy Orton come out and do commentary. At least then Randy Orton would have been given some insight on the wrestling business and would have been able to improve his craft quicker than what he did. But it seemed like, in 2005, Randy Orton just had mishap after mishap after mishap after coming back from one of his first major injuries, which I remember profiling a number of years ago and commenting on that for a number of written columns that I posted on websites. And now it seems like ever since 2005, the same kind of thing has a consistent habit of having repeat itself for Randy Orton. He goes, and then he comes back, he goes again, he comes back, he goes again, he comes back for whatever circumstance he's faced with. So it should be nothing strange to read on a professional wrestling news website of Randy Orton. Now, I know sometimes it's really hard to decipher what's legit information and what's actually bogus information, and more times than enough, these websites are not given enough credit for having to remove the bogus information the admins had to remove. You guys as admins are never given enough credit, but, that kind of thing, I guess, is just done to create controversy in the wrestling business. People will say Randy Orton's suffering from suspension. People are saying that Randy Orton's under a significant amount of heat and pressure in WWE. He has been under a significant amount of heat and pressure in the past. But I think ever since the evolution of Randy Orton, if you looked at Randy Orton's Evolution of a Predator DVD and Blu-ray release from a number of years ago, I mean, Randy Orton reached a point of maturity sooner than a lot of people did in their lifetime of being a professional wrestler or being involved with the business. And I think that's what